Writers Without Margins means to me is I got it actually tattooed on my arm with kind of the ink pen, and then so that's how much writing has meant to me and becoming me. And Writers Without Margins was what started it. So
being involved with Writers Without Margins has completely changed my life. On every level.
So she's giving me my confidence back. I've always had confidence only via alcohol and drugs. So now I can stand and speak and tell my story in front of other people, and it's all been due to the different public venues and avenues that Cheryl's been giving me to sit there and tell my story.
And I really see the writing as an outlet for people who haven't necessarily had a whole lot of support, and for every time that somebody is allowed to change their narrative, and this is the overlap from the work I used to do in law, when somebody is allowed to reframe their story from victim to survivor, or to see themselves not only as a passive player in a story about their life, but to revise that and to become a more active participant in their own future through writing. That is a really, really transformative moment. And I think
what's interesting is when I go for job interviews, I'm always trying to kind of conceal the fact that I was incarcerated. Whereas with Writers Without Margins, they knew long before any discussion of a job opportunity was even talked about. They knew my past. They knew where I had been. So it was a whole different, it was a whole different perspective.
It's hard to kind of say, but I mean, in some ways, it kind of saved my life. It finally provided me with that outlet to keep myself sober and find a different way to release anything negative on my mind or mentally, physically, whatever. Because before, my release was to go to drugs. That was my way.
Cheryl, the executive director, she's really pushed me in every way, shape, and form. When I'm struggling with school, when I don't really want to, apply, I always create these outs for myself, and she just pushes them right aside. And
she taught me that money isn't everything, that sometimes, just giving back and helping the next person can be just as rewarding as having $1 million in your bank account.
Honestly, if I didn't have Writers Without Margins and everything that came with it, I probably would be in the same spot I was when I got out of prison.
Putting all of us inside of that book, it gave me something to come home to, and I felt like I accomplished something great. And then it gave me something to look forward to. We're gonna have you do this poetry show. We're gonna have you do these different things. It kind of gave me different things to look forward to. I got to stay on track because this is coming up. And there was confidence builders. It's a transition for me being 48 years old now, and I'm just learning how to deal with the feelings, the financial responsibilities, and trying to keep up with the pace of life without a drink or a drug.
It's motivated me to the point where I do feel like for the first time since I started using drugs at 23, 14, but really started using drugs at 23 years old. It's the first time that I actually feel like I got it this time.